I know it's hard. I know it might feel discouraging at times and you feel like you've really just tried everything. But what I'm here for today is to offer another perspective on depression. So depression is not your enemy. Depression is not here to punish you. It's actually quite the opposite. Depression is a messenger. It's here to offer you insight on something that might not be aligned within your actions and your lifestyle, or something within that you're not addressing. It's here to shed light on something that's been living in the dark. So there's this thing that Jim Carrey said years ago. He mentioned something about depression and I had read it, and for me it was a wake-up call. I was like, whoa, this makes so much sense. So I do want to read it. So he said, depression is your body saying, I don't want to be this character anymore. I don't want to hold up this avatar that you've created in the world. It's too much for me. You should think of the word depressed as deep rest. Your body needs to be depressed. It needs deep rest from the character that you've been trying to play. So what depression is saying is that it's not able to fake it anymore. And like, why do you fake it? You fake it because there's unresolved traumas. You fake it because there's some beliefs, some conditionings that lives inside of you. There might be some words like, I am loved if I do this. If I don't do this, I will be safe. And that's why you're doing stuff that are not truly aligned with you. And let's see depression as a wake-up call. As your body saying, I can't do this anymore. I can't hold this up anymore. I want to be aligned with my true self. It's your soul speaking to you, saying that there's a misalignment with who you're trying to be and what you're trying to do, and the energy through which you're operating, and what is actually your highest. So just saying that there's something that you're operating through that is not your highest. So it's actually a gift. Depression is a gift. It's an opportunity to look within, to look deeper and see where we're not being true to ourselves. And if you truly listen, that's where like expansion happens and you get everything you've ever wished for and more. And before dissecting yourself, because we're often going to do this in the healing world, we're often going to try to dissect everything within ourselves. Like, oh, where is this coming from? Why am I acting like this? And in this specific message, like, what is depression trying to tell me? What is not aligned? Where don't I feel loved? Where don't I feel safe? And then what happens is that you're going in your mind. And we often do that. But how many times did you understand a pattern in your life? Did you understand where it came from in your childhood? Yet you didn't heal it. Yet you didn't manage to free yourself from it. Because it's not in the mind that healing happens. And for sure, like, it's part of the process. Like, understanding where you came from is part of the process. But where true healing happens is when you drop into the heart. I'm making this video because 2 months ago, I went through a period of depression. And it had been a long time that I have not felt depression to that intensity. So back then, I would often feel depression. I would often go through anxiety, and that was more like my regular state, if I could say. And I went through really dark periods. And I would say in the last years of my healing journey, I did experience dark periods. I did have a lot of ebb and flows, and I did experience a lot of pain, but I have not experienced a depression to that intensity where I felt completely disempowered and like I had no strength left in me anymore. 2 months ago, I experienced it. It reminded me how hard it is when you are in that state, how heavy it is. And for me to go through that after all this healing work, it just showed me that there's a deeper message to depression. And there was a reason I was experiencing that. And I was actually fighting it. I didn't want to experience that. I was in a period where I was trying to really take action in my vision and my dreams and my career. And I was showing up every day, and there was something that I was not doing in an aligned way. And I was not seeing it. And more as the weeks went, I was feeling more and more down. Then I got sick. And after being sick, I just couldn't get back up. I was just lethargic. I was exhausted. I had no energy. I was sad. I had dark thoughts. I felt like there was no point. It was really heavy inside of me. And if you're watching this video, I know you can relate to that. And every day I was waking up and I was trying to fight, and I was like, okay, let's get our stuff done. Like, let's do this. There was a breaking point. I was in my shower and I couldn't even stay standing up because I was feeling too heavy. So I just sat in the shower. And then I started crying, and I started really acknowledging how I was feeling, and started feeling like, oh wow, I am feeling depressed right now. And actually what I was doing was holding space. And if you did not watch my last video, this is what I talk about. I talk about holding space, what it is, and how to do it with yourself. So if this is not too familiar for you, or you want more tools to be able to hold space in times like this for yourself, I really suggest you watch this video. But in that moment, I started crying. And I was saying all the stuff that I was feeling inside. I was saying how, like, I can't do this anymore. Why is this happening again? Like, it never ends. Because, you know, when we're feeling like this, it's like all the times before we felt like this, it was just an ongoing moment until this point, and we never stopped feeling it. It's like we were carrying it all along. Even if there was periods where you were actually feeling good, kind of forget that. And it feels like it was always like this, and you feel like there's no way out. You really feel like there's no way out. That's how I felt. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I was just like, it's so hard to be a human, and it's so hard to figure this out, and I don't know how to do this. And I was just really at my lowest point at that moment. And there was an insight that came to me where I understood that I had to go through the process, that I had to allow myself to feel depressed. I was to go through this. I was to stop fighting it. I was to stop resisting. And when I say this, it doesn't mean call in for defeat. Like, oh, I'm just depressed. F everything. It's over. There's nothing to do. This is just what it is. Like, I'm just gonna be like that. This is not what I'm speaking about. This is about stop dismissing the message that depression came to give you. Stop fighting it. Stop pretending like it's not there. Stop trying to make it go away. Stop resisting it, because then you're just holding it there tighter, and the message is becoming louder and louder and louder. And that's why we get to that point, to that tipping point where we feel depressed, because maybe the message was there, but we were ignoring it, we were not hearing it, and at some point the body goes through bigger measures for you to hear. And if for you there's an ongoing depression, it's been coming back time after time, or it's just been on the long run. There might be something you've been dismissing all along, and you're always trying to do the same things, and it's never working because you're never getting to the core of it. So what I mean here is that in that moment, I decided that depression was allowed to be there, that I was allowed for deep rest, and that I was to offer myself that I was to allow myself to feel all aspects of this depression. Before trying to find solutions, before finding what is not aligned, I was just to drop into this depression, into my heart, into the message, into the feeling, and truly listen. Let go of my walls, of the resistance, of everything I think I need to do. Like, I'll be safe if I do this. I'll be successful if I do this. No, let that all go for a moment. Just let that all go. That's gonna get sorted out, I promise. Now we have to drop into the self. Like, the thing is, you're going through it either way. You are feeling depression either way. Either you just are a victim to it or that you do something about it, like you're going through it. So you could resist or you could persist. Like the only way out is through. You're going through the depression. You're not lingering in it. You're going through it. And on the other side of it, there's an evolution, there's an expansion, there's something to be learned, there's a release, there's alchemizing. Like on the other side of it, you become a butterfly. Right now, see depression as the cocoon. You're in a cocoon stage. You need to deep rest. The cocoon stays for a while it works through its stuff until it can become a butterfly. But what we do is that we're so scared of becoming a butterfly that we stay in this cocoon. And when we're just in the dark, we're just staying in the dark. Like if depression knocked on your door, it's because there's something that you need to learn from it. There's something you have not learned yet to bring you to the next level. There's an initiation to be done. And depression is here to show you that there's something else, that there's something more. It's here to recalibrate. And I know like in times when we're depressed, this is all we see is pain and hurt and disempowerment. And like there's no way out. Like I know at the moment I felt that, like I was feeling all that. Like how does it even stop? Like I know what it's like. But if I can get through it, that means you can too, because we're not different. We're all part of the same consciousness. I'm just here to remind you of your power, of what's within. So in that moment when I was in the shower and I cried it out, after that, I didn't do anything about it. I just let myself be there. I let myself be in that space. And I remember there's a moment where I was walking to the bus stop and I couldn't stop from crying. It was just like all coming out. And I remember I thought about you and you actually helped me. I said, I can't give up. I can't give up because if I give up on myself, I'm also giving up on you that's feeling the same thing. I'm giving up on everyone that is feeling like I'm feeling right now. I'm telling everyone that it's not possible. But I know in my heart that it is. I can't give up. And as I said before, we're not different. We're all part of the same. So what I'm doing to me, I'm offering to you too. And what you're doing to you, you're offering to the world too. And after that, like it took a while. It was not like instantly, okay, I feel good and now everything's perfect. It was not a super long depression, a few weeks, because I allowed myself to go through the process. But after that moment, it did take a moment for me to process things and feel better. But even while I was in it, I was seeing how this was serving me. And now that I look back, I'm really thankful that I went through this. Because this is what is allowing me to, yes, make this video, but even just show up here with this energy. Like, because I did find what was not aligned. And since then, I've been focusing on remaining on my path, on my soul's path, on what it wants, and stop ignore the message. And I'm more in tune when I'm going off the path and I bring myself back. And I'm so grateful and so thankful that my body has the ability to send me these kinds of messages. And I thank myself for listening. That's all that's needed. So I'm gonna do another video around this topic because there's a lot of stuff I didn't talk about in this video that I do wanna share. And it's probably gonna be my next video, I would assume. Stay tuned for that video, and if there's any feedback, if you want to share your story, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. If you like this video and you found it helpful, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to my channel. And I hope you have a good day and that you release a ton so that you can feel more liberated and free.